What's up guys, Zach Miner here for Rev3 Games, and Need for Speed Most Wanted is out this week. Now, there's a fair chance that you already own a game called Need for Speed Most Wanted, but rest assured, this is not an HD update or a remake. This is an entirely new game, and it might just be one of the best arcade racers of the last couple years. With Most Wanted, Criterion Games has taken the open world of Burnout Paradise and merged it with the Most Wanted mechanic in the original game to create something wholly new and very ambitious. The basic premise of the game is this: you're new to the city of Fairhaven and you're gunning to become the most wanted driver around. That means winning races, grabbing new cars, earning speed points, and avoiding cops. Avoiding lots of cops.
Suspect is currently hitting. Our fugitive now carrying damage.
Most Wanted does a lot of things differently than the traditional arcade racer, but perhaps the most interesting decision is how you get new cars. In most racers, you start off with slow, boring cars and eventually you race your way up the food chain. Not so here. In Most Wanted, every car is available right from the start, as long as you can find it. Cars are hidden throughout Fairhaven and are added to your arsenal when you drive up and hop in them. I was a little skeptical about how this would work, especially since hot new cars are usually the best reward in racing games. Turns out this might have been one of the best decisions Criterion made. Finding new cars is a joy, whether you're stumbling across them in plain sight or trying to find some hidden spot where a car might be located. It's a mechanic that really makes Most Wanted feel like a true open world game. You know, the best free roaming experiences tend to make you get sidetracked from your primary goal, and I found myself avoiding races because I kept exploring for new cars. The game really rewards exploration, as every open world game should, and it gives the players choice instead of forcing them down a linear path of racing unlockables. As for the cars themselves, they are unsurprisingly awesome. There's a huge variety of over 100 licensed, fully damageable cars, from stuff you'd expect like the Porsche 911 to totally insane cars like the Marusa. Every car has customizable upgrades from nitrous and tires to body mods and chassis, but the progression model here is a little more standard. These are given to you based on your performance in races, but unfortunately they're only granted to the car you're driving at the time, meaning if you find a sweet new car, you're going to have to redo some easy races to get basic upgrades. It's a little bit of a bummer, but it actually does make it feel more like an RPG. It's almost like you're trying to re-roll as a new character class. Everything in Most Wanted is controlled through Easy Ride, which is accessible through the D-pad. From there, you can find new races and challenges, change and customize your car, and hop into a multiplayer match. All this can be done on the fly, so if it turns out that a new race has more off-roading than you thought, you can swap to off-road tires mid-race. It just might make you take the hands off the wheel, and we all know how that ends in a Criterion game. Easy Ride makes it simple to always find something new to do, whether it's a race or a Most Wanted mission, which is where you race against a special set of cars while trying to avoid the cops. Win the race, then take the car out and it's yours, along with a higher spot on the list of Most Wanted drivers. Aside from the typical races, there are also speedrun challenges where you have to maintain a high average speed throughout a sprint race, or ambush missions where you start surrounded by cops and have to escape their dragnet. The other huge part of Easy Ride, and of Most Wanted in general, is the return of Autolog. Autolog is Most Wanted's asynchronous multiplayer, and it's one of the best parts of the game. Everything you do in the game is compared to your friends. Every race you join will dangle your friend's top score. Every time you jack a car, you'll see how many your friends have gotten. And when you're just driving around the city, you'll hit these speed traps that capture your top speed, and they'll compare those with your friends. Easy Ride will even prompt you when you get a challenge from a friend or when they've beaten one of your high scores, and incentivize it by offering speed point bonuses. It's a fantastic utility, and it makes Most Wanted one of the more social games I've played recently. It really feels like you're competing among these other drivers in Fairhaven instead of just nameless AI cars, and I cannot remember the last time I felt so compelled to fill out my friends list. Another awesome touch, the game tracks your jump length through billboards, and the leader on your friends list will have their avatar displayed on that billboard in your game. Need for Speed Most Wanted has an online pass, but thankfully you don't need it for the Autolog features, just for synchronous multiplayer. Multiplayer takes place in the same free roam environment, and it has the game's host setting up a playlist of different events. These tend to be pretty similar to the single-player events. You've got races, challenges, speedruns, etc. But placing them within free roam adds a ton of fun. As you're driving to a new start point, you can take your friends out for extra speed points, or if you finish a team race before your competitors, you can drive back on the track and take out the cars still racing. Graphically, the game is stunning. Lighting effects are gorgeous, and the sense of speed is just as great as it's always been in Criterion's games. And of course, the crashes are spectacular. When you're grinding against other cars and finally get taken down, the result can only be described as pure particle porn. It's gorgeous. The only real downside here is that the game is locked on consoles to 30 frames per second. It does stay very constant, even amidst the crazy action, but if you want to boost it up to 60, you're going to have to play it on PC, which unfortunately we didn't get a chance to try out. When it comes down to it, Need for Speed Most Wanted is simply a joy to play. It's a game that's built to appease arcade racing fans new and old. It's accessible enough to appeal to people who haven't experimented with the genre, and between Fairhaven's open design and the asynchronous multiplayer, there won't ever be a shortage of things to do. Most Wanted delivers on the promise of Burnout Paradise's open world ambition, and in doing so, it might just be the best arcade racer of this generation. We say, buy it. So that's what I thought of Need for Speed Most Wanted. It is out this week for Xbox 360, PC, and PS3. There's also mobile versions. It's coming to the Vita, as well as Android and iOS, and there's supposed to be a Wii U version coming sometime next year. If you guys have any more questions about the game, leave them in the comments below, and let us know what you think of the game once you pick it up. I'm Zach Miner, and I'll see you next time.